Okay, Sarah, where are we?
The Mediterranean Sea.
That's it, yeah. No, that's fine, you got it. That's the Mediterranean Sea. And we're here because we want to talk about Jonah. Jonah is a story that people do not believe. A lot of seminary professors don't believe. My son-in-law did his thesis on belief of seminary professors and found that of all the miracles in the Bible, it's the one that's least believed.
Wow.
And yet I believe it. Jesus believed it. He talked about Jonah being in the belly of a whale. And of course, that's what's really the source of criticism, because the Greek word is not whale there. It's a bad translation. It comes from the King James in 1611. It comes from the Douay Rheims, which is the Catholic translation from the Vulgate done back in the 1500s, and revisions of those. Actually, no translation in the last several hundred years has translated Matthew 12 whale, except those two old translations and revisions of those. And so, okay, I understand their concern. Whale has a throat about the size of my fist, and they're not found in the Mediterranean. And consequently, one book I know of says it's the greatest scientific error Jesus ever made to call it a whale. Well, he didn't. The Greek doesn't say whale. But the funny thing is, I did a study of this again recently, and I am now convinced it was a whale. I used to say it's probably a whale shark, but their throats are not that big either. They could swallow a Volkswagen in terms of putting it in their mouth. They're great big mouths. But no, I think it was probably a whale called a sperm whale. I'll tell you why. Sperm whales are found here in the Mediterranean, and a sperm whale is unique among whales. There are about 90 different kinds of whales, but the sperm whale is a very large whale, and it has a large throat, and it has a special stomach, 4 chambers, and one of those chambers is basically thick walls of muscle with no gastric juices inside. It could swallow a man easily, several men. In fact, one that was captured, they found a huge squid inside. In fact, squids can have a total length of over 40 feet, and this thing had this huge squid, so if it could swallow a squid, it could swallow a man. That huge stomach, 4 chambers, again, that first chamber is used to crush whatever's big and send it to the next chamber. Well, it could easily take in Jonah. He could live in there without being burned by gastric juice or anything. All the whale would have to do is come up and get some air occasionally. And I think it did, and I think as a consequence, Jonah was in the belly of a whale for 3 days and nights. Sarah, where was Jonah when he got on a ship? Do you remember the name of the town? Joppa. Joppa. And Joppa is south of us. It's just on the south side of Tel Aviv. And you see Yaffo today on the road signs. That's what's referring to Joppa, because in fact, it's really Yonah, not Jonah in the Hebrew. And so he got on there, but he had come from just right by Nazareth was his hometown, very close to where Jesus was raised. And so he had to do that walk. It's about 60 miles. Came down out of the hills, down to the Jezreel Valley and the way of the sea, that highway, that ancient highway, got on a ship, and when he got there, he paid his passage, and he was tired. He went down and he fell asleep. And I'm convinced they had not been out of the water long. They had just left port when the storm hit. Why do I think so? I'll give you a couple reasons. One, it says that after the storm hit, they're going to try to row back to land. You don't row back to land even if you're 5 miles out. You can't do it. But if you're very close to the shore, so I think they had just left. And also, when they finally threw Jonah overboard, it says he was wrapped up with seaweed. Well, where does seaweed grow? It grows right here on the coastal areas. Not out there. You sometimes find seaweed way out because it drifts out there, but no, it's close to shore. And so I think a sperm whale grabbed Jonah and then kept him in his stomach for 3 days and 3 nights, and then spit him out probably fairly close to this location. Because from here, you get on that way to the sea road, and you go right up through the Jezreel Valley and right on to Nineveh. Okay. Now, another reason people don't believe that story is they say, come on, no prophet's going to come to a great city and speak to the people and they all repent. It's just not going to happen. that is probably true ordinarily.
Okay.
But I think special circumstances. Think about what happened. The sailors leave Joppa, and then the storm hits. They know that this is not something that's normal at all. It's very unusual. And so they're convinced it must be brought on by a god. They pull straws, it falls to Jonah. They say, "What have you done? Who are you?" And he tells them about the God who made heaven and earth. And they're full of fear. They don't want to throw him overboard. They don't want to throw this man overboard. They know it's his death. They don't want to do it. But it gets so bad. They've thrown the cargo overboard, and they think they're all going to die. And so they say, "Don't hold this against us." They throw him overboard, and immediately the storm ceases. And they make vows to God, but now they have no cargo. So they're going to have to go back to Joppa and get more cargo so they can make some money on this trip to Spain. Tarshish is actually in Spain. And all the way across, it's as far as Jonas could have gotten away from God. Can't really get away from God anywhere, but anyway, that's what he had done. Headed towards Tarshish. And now they would have told that story to everybody there. And I imagine it was heard by many people headed towards Nineveh right then. Nineveh was the great city, and so there would have been a lot of karmas, even from Egypt, coming this way. And so before Jonah ever got there, maybe weeks before Jonah got there, if he walked, for example, and they may have been on caravans and camels, the people heard the story. And so when he arrived and he told what had happened to him, those people said, "This is the man we've heard about." And so his story was believed. Yeah, I believe the whole story just as it's in the Bible, as I believe Jesus did. Okay.
Cool.
Okay.